kiddos of class 6. Today we are going to start your first unit, A reading, which is Peace and Harmony. Do you all know what is peace and what is harmony? Well, both are abstract nouns because they are the states or the situation. They do not have physical existence, hence they are abstract in nature. Now, what is peace? Peace means tranquility or calmness. Whenever there are no fights, no arguments, then it is said to be a peaceful atmosphere. Now, what is harmony? Harmony means a state of living together peacefully. It is a state of living in a united manner. When there is mutual understanding between the members, it is said to be they are living in a harmony. A peace is a noun. It means a state of tranquility. And what is harmony? Living together in a united manner when there is mutual understanding. That is known as harmony. Means mutual understanding. So the story is about the animals who lived in peace and harmony. There were no quarrels among them. They respected each other and they knew how to appreciate each other. But one day a jackal comes to the forest and he changes everything. He poisons the minds of the animals and the peace in the forest is lost. So this is the story of how animals unite again and attain back the peace and harmony in the forest. So let's start. This story is a fictional story. It's not true. Okay? But there is a lot to understand from this. Because the importance of the story lies in peace and harmony. Throughout the story, the focus is kept on staying united and living peacefully. Once upon a time, in a very thick forest, there lived many animals, birds, snakes, and insects. They all lived together happily. They roamed about the jungle and played together in the open fields without any fear. So this was the situation before the cunning jackal entered the forest. How were they living? There was a mutual understanding between the animals. They respected each other. They knew how to appreciate each other's qualities. So they were living peacefully. There were no fights, no quarrels among them. Okay, so all the birds, all the snakes, all the other animals, they were living in a peaceful manner. They roamed about the jungle and played together in open fields without any fear. So there was no fear, there was no violence in the jungle. They all played together. There was no discrimination, difference between larger animals and smaller animals. There was equality and they all enjoyed each other's presence. The peacocks were very proud of their dances but admired the melodious songs of cuckoos. Now the peacocks, being the most beautiful animals, they could have been quite arrogant about their qualities. They could have said, no other bird is as smart or as beautiful as we are. But they did not appreciate themselves. They knew how to appreciate the other smaller birds too. They appreciated the melodious voice of cuckoos too. The elephants enjoyed watching the fish swimming in the pool. Now the elephants also enjoyed watching the tiny fishes. Now elephant being a large animal, they could have been quite arrogant about their size, but they still knew, they were so humble that they knew how to respect the smaller animals too. The pythons, which were blessed with long bodies, spoke well of the fine fur of flat-footed rabbits. So what did the pythons do? Pythons are snakes. So they did not appreciate themselves. They instead talk about the fur of the hair of the rabbits. they talked about how beautiful the rabbits were. Now pythons have long, beautiful bodies, but they were not arrogant, they did not appreciate themselves. Tiny ants, which were always busy, tickled the dark buffaloes. Now the tiny ants, what did they do? They also had this nature to appreciate, to spend their time with the buffaloes. They often held musical evenings in a large open field. The elephant and the deer danced. The miners and the parrots sang. The tiger and the bear exhibited gymnastics. Now this is all the situation about how they were enjoying themselves. They held musical evenings. So all the animals came out and they used to dance together. There was a lot of harmony. They all lived in a united manner. The elephant and the deer danced, the miners and parrots sang in those musical evenings, and then the tiger and the bear, what did they do? They exhibited, they showed gymnastics, means exercises, physical exercises. They called the moon and his friends, the stars, to be the guests of honor at their musical evenings. So who did they call to be their guests? They called the moon and the stars. Is that really possible? No. Can animals dance and sing and talk? No, it's not possible. Because it's a fictional story here, it's not true. So they called stars and the moon to be their guests. One day a jackal entered the forest. He was dirty, dangerous and very cunning too. He told the elephants, "You are the biggest animals in the forest. Why do you want to play with the squirrels and the rabbits?" So what did this jackal do? Now he steps into the forest. The jackal is very cunning and very dirty. So as soon as he steps into the forest, everything falls apart. He starts developing negative thoughts in the minds of animals. He makes them doubt, suspect each other. He makes them think about their own selves rather than appreciating other animals. He poisons their minds. What did the jackal say to elephants? He says, "You're such a large animals. Why do you want to play with the squirrels and the smaller animals?" He poisoned the minds of peacocks, saying, "You're the loveliest birds in the forest. Why do you want to praise the miners?" What did the jackal say to peacocks? He said, "You're the loveliest, you're the most beautiful bird. Why do you want to praise miners?" The jackal then approached the deer and whispered that the tiger was waiting for a chance to kill them. So what did the jackal do? He approaches, he goes near the deer and he says that the tiger is planning to kill you. He is trying to poison each and every animal's mind. He is creating suspicion in their minds against each other. They started doubting each other. There was no mutual understanding. There was no harmony between the animals. Earlier they had lived together, slept together and roamed around in the forest together. Now they started to put up boundaries and build fences around their properties. They moved about individually or with their own group. So what happened gradually? Now the jackal was successful in creating a negative mindset. Okay, he poisoned all the animals' minds. Now they no longer started to live together. Earlier they used to roam together, but now everything has changed. They started to put up boundaries. They started to claim, "This is my property, you're not supposed to enter here." So there were a lot of differences between the animals. There was no equality. Now it was easy for the jackal to hunt the smaller animals and the birds. So now that he is successful in dividing them, now that he is successful in taking away all the harmony from them, he thought it's a right opportunity to prey now. It's a right opportunity to hunt smaller animals. So what did he do? And when the smaller ones cried out for help, no one came to help them. So he started hunting smaller animals. When they cried out for help, nobody came there. Other larger animals did not come to rescue the smaller animals. Why? Because their minds were poisoned. They did not have that feeling of unitedness anymore, because everything was ruined by this cunning jackal. Now, once they lost this unity, they lost this trust and faith among each other, they became weak. The moment they started staying away from each other, they began to become weaker. As long as they were united, as long as there was harmony, they were strong. And the jackal would not have hunted them, but now, because they are weak, they are away and they are weak, it's easy to kill all of them. One by one, the little ones disappeared. The forest slept as the animals were afraid. There were no more musical evenings. The moon was sad, he cried. So what happened now? One by one, all the little animals started to disappear. Why did this happen? Because they were weak enough to be killed. It was very easy for the jackal to kill them. So he killed them one by one, and all the smaller animals began to disappear. So the forest seemed like as if it slept. The forest doesn't sleep, but because the animals were extremely scared of what was going on, they did not come out and enjoy themselves. There was no harmony, and also this jackal spread a lot of violence in the forest, so they were very scared to come out and enjoy themselves like earlier. So everything was silent, no musical evenings, no enjoyment. And the moon, who watched these animals, was also very sad, and he cried. The moon thought for a while and decided to come down among the animals and the bird as Sadhu. As soon as the Sadhu appeared in the forest, the animals and the birds approached him to narrate their tales of woe. So what did the moon decide? He decided to come down to earth in the disguise, in the appearance of Sadhu. He came down as a Sadhu, and as soon as he came to the earth, all the animals rushed towards Sadhu and they started sharing their woe. Woe means extreme sadness, pain. They started sharing what disaster was happening in the forest, and they started blaming each other. Because their minds were poisoned, they were unable to trust each other like earlier. They started blaming each other. The tiger started to blame the peacock started to blame the monkey. That's how they were quarreling in that time. And the Sadhu listened to them. Now Sadhu carefully listens to all of their problems, to all of their woes, grievances. And what does he decide? He decides to help them. The Sadhu brought together the lions and the rabbits for a common meal. He visited the python and the viper and had a long chat with them. He advised the eagle not to attack the little chicks and that had lost their mother. The Sadhu accompanied the tiger and the wild bear to the nearest market. He played with the bulbul, the owl and the monkeys. So what did Sadhu do? Now he wanted to bring back that harmony between the animals. He wanted to terminate or remove those negative thoughts which they developed against each other. He wanted to develop a positive mindset among the animals once again in order to bring back the unity among them, in order to make them stronger once again. So he started visiting each and every animal and he started preaching about the unity, about the harmony, how important it is to stay together. He talked with the eagle. He advised eagle not to kill the smaller chicks that lost their mother. And similarly, he visited each and every animal. He was successful in changing their minds. What did Sadhu do? He developed the thoughts of unity in the minds of animals. The jackal was very angry with what the Sadhu was doing. He did not want the animals to live in peace and harmony. So he was waiting for an opportunity to attack the Sadhu. So what did the jackal do? Now the jackal was not happy with what Sadhu was doing, because as long as the animals were away from each other, they were weak and it was easy for the jackal to attack and kill them. But now the jackal sees that the animals are getting closer again. The harmony between them is coming back. So he was upset that he will no longer be able to kill the animals. And that's the reason why he was quite angry with Sadhu, and he wanted to take revenge. He wanted to kill Sadhu. One day, the animals, insects, and birds held an emergency meeting, and they unanimously means unitedly together, decided to approach the Sadhu and pleaded with him to kill the jackal. The Sadhu said, I will not kill the jackal but help you in a different way. So what did the animals do? Now the harmony between them is back. The mutual understanding, the trust is back. Who helped in bringing back the trust among them? Sadhu. So what did all the animals decide? They understood that jackal was very cunning. He was playing with them, playing with their minds. So they all unanimously, they all together, they held a meeting. They visited Sadhu and they asked him to kill the jackal. But what did Sadhu do? They pleaded him. Pleaded him means they requested him. To plead means to make an appeal, to make a request. They requested him to kill the jackal, but Sadhu did not want to kill, because till now he preached about unity, he preached about peace. Killing someone is again not an act of peace, or it is not an act of harmony, it is violence. So all his preaching would go wrong. It would be opposite of what he has been teaching till now. So he says, I won't kill the jackal, but I'll help you in some other way. When the sun went to sleep, the jackal came to the house of the hens to take a few of them for his supper. The Sadhu, who had been lodging nearby, came out of the house and spoke to the jackal, take me today for your meal. So what did the jackal do? It was an evening time, it was a supper, dinner time, and the jackal went to the hen's house. He took a few of hens and he wanted to eat them for a meal. But what did Sadhu do? He was lodging, he was resting somewhere nearby. Sadhu comes near this jackal and he says, have me for your meal, have me in your dinner. The jackal, who had been waiting for this opportunity, dragged the Sadhu and ran into the jungle. He took the Sadhu to a lonely place, tore him into pieces and ate him up. So what did the jackal do? Now jackal was desperately waiting to kill Sadhu. This was a wonderful opportunity to attack and kill Sadhu. So he pulled Sadhu and he took him to the jungle. There he tore him into pieces and ate him up. He ate Sadhu. The animals were very sad, angry and disappointed with what had happened to the Sadhu. They were afraid that the hungry jackal would appear again the next day. So what happened now? All the animals were very sad, very upset and disappointed with what had happened, because till now Sadhu was there to support them. He brought the harmony back. The jackal killed him. Now they were afraid that hungry jackal may turn up again. He may come back again and kill all of them. Then what happened? They were afraid that the hungry jackal would appear the next day. Then they heard a strange noise. All of them ran in that direction. What they saw surprised them. They saw the stomach of the jackal growing bigger and bigger. It continued to bloat until it burst. Then they heard a soft voice, may my animals, birds and insects live in peace and harmony. May there be no fences around you. May you sing and dance once again. Remember me and be not afraid. So what did Sadhu do actually? He sacrificed his life for the sake of peace and harmony in the forest. Now as the animals were afraid that this jackal killed Sadhu and he'll be back, what did they hear immediately? They hear a strange sound, a strange noise. All the animals rush towards the jackal's place and they see that the jackal's belly was bloating, was swelling. Bloat means swell, to become larger and larger. And what happened at the end? His stomach began to grow larger and larger until it burst. His stomach bursts and jackal dies. And what do animals hear? They hear a soft noise, a soft voice which says, may all my animals live in peace and harmony. May there be no fences between them. There should be no differences between them. So basically this was a sacrifice of Sadhu to bring back the unity and peace in the forest. When they looked up at the sky, they saw the moon shining brilliantly, spreading milky brightness over the earth. The animals once again started to roam, sing, and sleep in the peace. They broke down the fences which they had built. They invited the moon and stars for their cultural evenings. So once again, the peace in the forest was back. Once the sadhu killed the jackal, of course, sadhu had to sacrifice his life, but the peace in the forest was back. And they started looking at the sky. Everything seemed very beautiful. The stars started to shine brilliantly. And once again, there were musical evenings. And once again, the animals started to call moon and stars to be their chief guests for the evenings. Now that we have understood the lesson, let us understand the deeper meaning. Let us place ourselves in the place of those animals. See, as long as we are together, as long as there is mutual understanding, peace exists. And the arrival of jackal in the story here is similar to that of arrival of negativity in our lives. So negative situations come in life and they change our minds. They make us suspect our loved ones. Even though we choose the negative path in that situation, always there is an opportunity to get back to the right path. So the sadhu here was a representation of a choice, an opportunity. He came there and he provided with an opportunity for the animals to change their mindsets. Even though their minds were poisoned, he gave them an opportunity to become good, and they made use of that opportunity and they chose to become good. They chose to leave that negative attitude and take that positivity. Similarly, we human beings, despite the fact of a lot of negativity in our life, we should stick to positive attitude, positive mindset. Even though we choose a wrong path for a certain period of time, there's always an opportunity to come back to the right path. The jackal here is negative, and he too has had that opportunity to become positive and to let go of his negative feelings, but he did not do that. Why? Because he was evil and he wanted the animals to suffer. He never wanted to come out of that negative mindset. So, who killed the jackal here? Sadhu did not kill the jackal. Jackal killed himself. His own mindset killed him. He could have chose not to eat sadhu. He could have apologized. He could have started to live peacefully with other animals. But did he do that? No. What did he do? He continued to have that jealous in his heart. He continued to have that revengeful attitude. And that itself made him weak. And the result of that weakness was his death. So similarly, we human beings have to choose. It's all about the choice. When we get an opportunity to make the right choice, we have to choose it, and eventually things get better. Like in the story, the animals realized their mistake, they chose to be good, and that's the result. That's the reason why the result was good. The negativity was gone. That is the main idea we get from this story. So throughout the story, the importance is given to peace and harmony. Peace is attained only when there is mutual understanding, only when there is harmony between each other. If there is no understanding, there is no peace. So I hope you enjoyed listening to this story. The homework for you is to read the questions present at the back of your lesson. First go through the lesson and then try to write the answers in your own words. Now this is the common homework which I give to all of the classes. It helps you to think. It develops your thinking abilities. So yeah, try to write in your own words. Don't copy from question banks or materials. I hope you'll do that. We shall meet in our next video. Until then, goodbye and take care.